Problem 37 of their summer assignment gave you two functions, f of x and g of x, and they asked you to find the composition of f on g. And the way that we do that is we know that the composition of on g means that I'm going to do g of x first, and whatever the output is from g of x then becomes the input into f. So let's have a little look. The output, if I give x to g, the output is the square root of x plus 2. That becomes the input to function f. What does function f do? It takes the input, squares it, and subtracts 3. So I take the input, square it, and subtract 3. And that, when I sort out all the algebra, I get x plus 2 minus 3, or x minus 1. Now, we were asked explicitly to find the domain, and we would have to in any case, because the function that I have created does not, as you might think at first glance, have a domain of all real numbers. There is a restricted domain, and the way to realize that is to think about how this function was constructed. It was done in two steps. The first thing we had to do was g of x. In order to be able to do g of x, there is a restriction on x. I'm taking the square root of x plus 2. If you take the square root of something, what's under the root sign has to, which in this case is x plus 2, has to be positive or 0. So I know that x has to be greater than negative 2. As I look through the rest of my work, there are no more conditions or restrictions on x. The final result that I end up with, the final result that I end up with doesn't add any more restrictions. So what I end up with is not just x minus 1, but it's x minus 1 that has a condition that x has to be greater than or equal to negative 2. And that means when we do part B, the graph of this, I have to be careful. What I'm going to do is to create the graph of x minus 1 as a dotted line, and then I'm only going to select the portion that corresponds to x is greater than or equal to negative 2. The line y equals x minus 1 has a y-intercept of negative 1. Its slope is 1. That means that I go up 1 and to the right 1. So let's go up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1. Going backwards from the y-intercept, I'm then going to go down 1 to the left 1. Let's keep going. Down 1 to the left 1. And you can see that at this point I've gone to the left twice, so I've hit an x of negative 2. My x value is negative 2, and I went down twice and I already started at negative 1. Therefore, my y value is negative 3. Let's join up all the points, and that will be my graph. It is a ray, not a line. One quick thing, those of you who checked your answer on your calculator, you ended up graphing y1, I believe was x squared minus 3. You graphed y2 was the square root of x minus, plus, is it plus? Can't quite see. Plus 2. Okay? And then you did, this corresponded to f, there's g, and you wanted f on g of x. So what you did in your graphing calculator, you did y3 was going to be y1 on y2, and then it graphed the function for you. But you'll end up with all three graphs unless you do what we call deselect, the little sort of squares to the left. If they're all checked, they're all dark, your grapher will graph all three graphs. You want to deselect y1 and y2 so you only see the composition function, and it should be the graph that we have sketched here.